okay? It's about you and each of our individual call to be missionary, to be a disciple of Jesus sent out. So let's take a moment to reflect on where we're at, how we got here, and how we can continue to thrive as we go to make disciples of others. So I wanted to share a little bit of my story with you. I was a person who was raised in the church, but when I went away to university, I kind of had that classic story of just walking away from the faith. None of my friends were going to mass. My parents weren't knocking on the door, getting me out of bed to go to church, and so I just didn't go. But for a while, I would say there was still, at night as I fell asleep, I would whisper some prayers to God, my Our Father and my Hail Mary. But even after a time, that stopped as well. So I found myself in the middle of my university degree, just experiencing a lot of different questions, doing a lot of things that, God probably wouldn't have approved of. And at this time, my family began to go through an experience of renewal. They were invited to some Catholic youth retreats, and I saw something change in them. They began to be, they talked about their faith in this new way, in a personal way, and they really began to get on my case. So my siblings, I would come home to visit, and they would say things like, you need to go to confession. You need to stop swearing, right? And this is kind of, this was new. This was very new. And if you've heard me speak, you've probably heard me tell the story of my dad, the short Frenchman in our kitchen, who had also started going to these retreats. And he would say, Christie, you gotta come to these retreats. We sing these songs, and we do these actions. And I was like, who are you, and what have you done with my father, right? This was really different, really different. I'm not gonna lie. I thought maybe they'd gotten themselves into a cult. So they were on my case, they were asking me to come to these retreats, and finally I said, okay, if I go, will you get off my case? And my mom said, yes, if you come to one, I won't ask again. Well, I don't know how hard that woman was praying. I went to one, and what my mom didn't tell me was that I had to get on a bus. We had to drive to a different province. I live in Saskatchewan. We went to Manitoba for the retreat. I had a long time to think. And so I'm sitting at the front of the bus. I know nobody. I'm sitting with my mom. I'm 19. I'm like, I'm a sinner. These guys have halos, And so I'm looking out the window, and I just remember I could still picture just the trees going by and then the very flat land going by. And I just said a prayer, and I said, okay, God, if you're really real, just open my heart to whatever you have in store for me this weekend. That's a pretty strange prayer for someone who hasn't been praying. Like I said, my mom must have been on her knees. So I got to this church, opened the doors, hundreds of young people in the room. And for the first time, I heard the gospel spoken about in a clear way, in a way that I could understand. The speaker described what it meant for Jesus to be on the cross. One of the team members told me, did you know, and lots of people have this same story, did you know if you were the only person standing before the cross at Calvary, Jesus still would have died just for you? I had never heard about God being spoken in this personal way. And that night I experienced Eucharistic adoration for the first time in my life. And as I gazed at the Eucharist, which at the time, guys, I didn't know what it was, okay? I knew that that was the piece of bread that I received when I went to Mass, but I had never been to adoration. I didn't really know what was going on, but I saw young people coming as close as they could get to the altar. They were on their knees. Some of them were falling over. I was like, what is going on? But as I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the Eucharist, and this truth comes upon me. It's like, God, I don't really know what's going on, but I think you're here. and I think you're real, and I think you've given everything for me. And then my next response was, I think I have to give everything back to you. And it was a grace. It was a grace. God, in his mercy, saw me in that moment and convicted me of his truth. But here's the other thing that happened in that moment for me. The next day, we were all getting ready to go home, and everyone was giving testimony about what had happened to them. And I was petrified, okay? This is so funny, because I'm up here speaking to all of you. When I was in grade 12, I was a valedictorian. I had to give a speech. I was sick for 3 days. I couldn't eat. I was so that was me then. I was so nervous. And they had this mic up there, and they're like, come and share what has happened in your life. And I just felt something calling me up, and I got up, and I shared, and I didn't stumble on my words, and I shared what had happened to me that night. And then what I found myself saying is I said, I'm 19 years old. I'm Catholic. How did I never know? How did I never know? And there was this new conviction in me, and I thought, everyone has to know. Everyone has to know. And so for me, the moment of my conversion, of my call to follow Jesus, was also the moment of my call to go into mission. There was this grace, but for so many of us sometimes we can have that grace, that call to become a Christian, to follow Jesus, but the call to mission comes a little bit later, right? So I want you to think about that for yourself this morning. When did it become for you this conviction that you needed to go out? There's a couple more stories or moments for me that have also really shaped my call to be missionary. One of them is that soon after I had this conversion experience, I encountered Catholic Christian Outreach, CCO. They were going on a missions trip to Halifax. And in my mind, because I felt this need to tell everyone about Jesus, I assumed I was going to finish university and go to Africa. That's just what I thought missionaries did. But they asked me to go to Halifax, Nova Scotia. And for 4 months, I lived with 52 other young adults, and we served in parishes, and we put on events, and we ran faith studies. And I still remember leading this group in a discovery faith study, and it was all different ages of women. And in that faith study, we come to a point where we just share the gospel very clearly, very simply, and we invite people to consider whether or not they have ever invited Jesus to be at the center of their life, to truly become a disciple. And there was a woman in my group, she was 65 years old, and she said exactly what I said. I'm 65 years old. I've been in the church my whole life. How come no one ever told me this? It changes everything. And that summer, I saw that my mission field was not Africa, but it was here, and it was home. We have been entrusted with this mission. You and I are an extension of the apostles in whom Jesus first entrusted the mission of the gospel. And in case you still aren't certain, let's take a look at a couple of passages. From the gospel, Matthew chapter 28. Jesus' final words to us. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. And lo, I am with you always to the end of the age. Right? The second passage is from the Catechism of the Church. And that last line, it says all. He talks about how we're an extension of those apostles. All Catholics are sent, all Christians are sent to make disciples, to go out into mission. Now here's the thing. There's one more piece to this mission that we have to try and wrap our minds around. Yes, we're sent, to go and to make disciples, to invite Jesus into relationship. But we are also invited to have those disciples go out and reach others. So there's this simple passage from 2 Timothy 2, chapter 2. And is there a volunteer who would like to just read that passage, right? Someone here at the table?
And what you have heard from me through many witnesses, entrust to faithful people who will be able to teach others as well. 2 Timothy 2.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we see in this very short passage the strategy that St. Paul is employing to extend the mission of the church. You actually see that he is mentioning 5 different people. So there is himself, Paul, who has been preaching. There are witnesses who have heard of this gospel message through which Timothy has now heard the gospel and has become a follower. But now what Paul is saying is this message that you have heard through many witnesses, Timothy, entrust to the faithful so that they may in turn may reach others. So what this tells us is that our job in mission is not complete in just simply proclaiming the gospel and calling individuals to Jesus to be disciples of him. But in coming along disciples, we are now invited to multiply, to come alongside them so they in turn can go and reach others. This was Jesus' plan from the beginning. We see it in the time that he spent. In his 3 years, most of his time was spent with the 12, pouring into them so that they in turn might pour into others. You know, there's a statement that we often hear is that our evangelization is not complete until the person we are evangelizing is now evangelizing others. Okay? So let's take a minute right now just to have a conversation at our tables. I'd like you to think about these 3 questions. And again, you know, with 2 or 3 of you each at your table, let's just talk about this. So for yourself, you know, how have you come, you know, to this place of being ready to respond to that invitation to evangelize? You know, also, let me see, I forgot to tell you, I am visually impaired. So if you see me asking for help to read things, it's because I can't read the notes that I've written for myself, all right? So just so you know, that's what's going on here. But in your books, you've got all the questions, all right? And that last one, right, is how do you feel about this idea of spiritual multiplication being added on to this mission to go out and to share with others? So take a few moments with the people around you and let's discuss those questions.